The grand Ashworth mansion stood quiet, wrapped in the soft glow of a crystal chandelier. Every tick of the old clock echoed like a secret whisper through the polished marble floors. In the study, a large safe stood open, filled with money, gold, and shining diamonds. It looked almost unreal, like a dream placed within reach. Alexander Ashworth, the master of the house, stood hidden just beyond the doorway. He was a man of great wealth, but a heart filled with doubts. Life had taught him not to trust. People had stolen from him, lied to him, and broken his faith more times than he could count. Even those he once loved had left him empty. This morning he had set a test, not for himself, but for the woman who worked in his home, Camilla, his housemaid. She was always quiet, respectful, and hard-working, but Alexander wanted to know the truth about her character. So he had left the safe wide open. No cameras, no guards, only silenced temptation, and a chance to see who Camilla really was. He waited his breath, held his eyes fixed on the doorway. At exactly 8:42 a.m., Camilla walked into the study. She carried her duster in one hand and wore her simple uniform, her dark hair tied neatly back. She was only 32, but her eyes carried the weight of many years of struggle. Camilla was a widow. She had 2 young daughters and a mother battling cancer. Every day was a fight: rent, school fees, hospital bills, but she never complained. She never asked for pity. She simply worked. Arriving at the mansion before sunrise, moving quietly through the halls like a shadow of kindness. When she saw the safe open, Camilla froze. Her feet stopped in the middle of the room, and for a moment, her heart seemed to forget how to beat. Money lay stacked inside, shining under the morning light. Enough money to pay for her mother's treatment, her daughter's schooling, and to erase every worry she carried. She glanced at the hallway, empty, silent, no one watching, or so she thought. Alexander, hidden in the shadows, narrowed his eyes. He had seen this moment before in different ways. Former employees had stolen from him. Friends had taken advantage of his trust. Even family had betrayed him. He expected Camilla to falter too. Camilla stepped closer to the safe. Her gloved hand hovered just above the stacks of bills. She could have taken one note and no one would notice. She could have taken more, and it might have changed her life. But instead, she did something unexpected. She reached into the pocket of her apron, pulled out a soft cleaning rag, and gently wiped the edge of the safe. Her hands were steady, her movements careful. She did not touch the money. She did not even count it with her eyes. To her, the open safe was not an invitation, but simply another part of her job. She treated it as she treated every other object in the mansion, with respect, care, and discipline. Alexander's chest tightened. He had prepared himself for disappointment, but not for this. And then something even more surprising happened. Camilla paused in her cleaning, reached again into her pocket, and pulled out a small folded photograph. It was worn from years of being carried close. She opened it gently and gazed at the image. In the photo were 2 little girls no more than 7 and 5, their faces full of joy. Behind them lay an older woman in a hospital bed, smiling weakly, her hands resting gently on the children's shoulders. It was Camilla's family, her daughters, and her mother. Camilla whispered something under her breath, too soft for Alexander to hear. Then she kissed the photo, folded it back carefully, and placed it close to her heart once again. With quiet resolve, she shut the safe door and walked away, continuing her work as though nothing had happened. Alexander, still hidden, felt his throat tighten. Tears threatened his eyes. He had expected greed. He had expected weakness. Instead, he had witnessed love, pure and unshaken. That night, Alexander could not sleep. He lay awake in his vast bedroom, staring at the ceiling while Camilla's actions replayed in his mind. He had seen countless people fall when faced with temptation, yet she had stood tall. The memory of her kissing the photograph burned in his thoughts. It wasn't just restraint. He saw it was strength, faith, and the quiet power of a woman carrying the weight of her world without letting it change her soul. For years, Alexander had built walls around himself. He trusted no one. He believed kindness was fake and honesty was rare. But now one small act had shaken those beliefs. Camilla had shown him something he had forgotten existed: integrity. By morning he knew what he had to do. When Camilla arrived the next day, she found an envelope waiting for her on the kitchen counter. Her name was written in bold handwriting, Alexander's handwriting. With trembling hands, she opened it. Inside was a short letter. Integrity is priceless, but so is peace. You have given me both. Your daughters and your mother deserve a life without fear. Please accept what I enclose. Not as a reward, but as a thank you. Attached was a signed check blank ready for her to fill in with whatever she needed. Camila sat down stunned. Tears filled her eyes as she held the letter to her chest. For years she had carried her family's burdens alone. Now, for the first time, she felt them begin to lift. Not because she begged, not because she took, but because she had chosen the right path when no one was watching. Part 7. A New Beginning, Trust Restored. That weekend, Alexander visited Camila's home, not as her employer, but as a friend. He sat at her small wooden table, played with her daughters, and listened to her mother's gentle voice. He brought papers to help her buy a safer home, offered her a new position with full benefits, and promised her a schedule that allowed time for family. But the greatest gift he gave was not money or work. It was trust. Alexander had lived his life surrounded by wealth yet starved of peace. Camila had little, yet carried the richness of honesty and love. Together they discovered a truth that neither could deny. Sometimes the greatest treasures are not locked inside safes, but within the human heart. And from that day forward, Alexander and Camila's lives were changed, not by gold, not by diamonds, but by a simple act of integrity. Break time 0.5's closing message for audience. Sometimes the biggest tests in life happen in silence when no one is watching, and sometimes the choices we make in those moments change not only our own lives, but the lives of those around us.